Hello again, this is Michael with Lawrence County Tech Tips. Since we've already talked about Google Chrome, now I would like to talk about Google Drive, as we use this a lot in our classrooms and for storage and such. So Google Drive allows users to store files in the cloud, share files, and edit files with collaborators. Google Drive includes a full productivity suite, and since we are signed up for Google Apps for Education, we have unlimited storage included with it. That's both for our teachers and our students, and that students also have the productivity suite, so that's pretty cool. And when you use this, you can access your files anywhere you can get online. That is also both for our teachers and our students, as long as you use your lawrence.kyschools.us account. The students would of course use their stu.lawrence.kyschools.us account. So to access Google Drive, you could download the Google Drive app, which is available on most platforms, and that would allow you to synchronize between folders you drop into it on your computer and the cloud. It can be accessed from its own URL, drive.google.com. And then you would sign in. Also, you can go to Google. This is the way I use it most of the time, and sign in. And then use the waffle icons to get to your drive. Now, since we are talking about Google Classroom also in this discussion, you can access it that way. If you go to your classroom's websites, this is the same for teachers and students. You see in this Google training class, I have a folder here. I have one on each of my Google Classrooms. If I click that folder, it takes me to a subdirectory within my Google Drive that is relative to that class, either the class I'm in or the class I'm teaching. So I could go in here and create documents or whatever have you, and it would be stored already in that subfolder of my Google Drive. So if you look at my drive, I have quite a few things in here. So never delete the classroom, because that's what's linked to your classes. If you'll go to Classroom, I can see a folder for all the classes that I've ever used. I've got quite a few classes. Quite a few of these I'm enrolled in or was previously enrolled in. And a lot of these were just test sites so that I could figure things out for us. So once again, I go to that Google Training. Actually, I have another one. Google Training, and there's my surveys. Now, another way that we use Google Drive is for program review. So at our schools, we have like LMS. If we go to Lawrence Louisa Middle School and go to Staff and then LMS Program Review, this also uses Google Drive. So when you first click it, it comes up like so. You know, you see all the different folders that are in it. I click Open in Drive. So then it looks like it did a few seconds ago. Now I can manipulate stuff in here. If I want to drop something into this folder for program review, I'll just drag it in from my desktop. And that'll upload the file to program review to be assessed later. Once it's done, it'll tell you, and now I see it pop up in there. So I can also see all the activity that is done in there, just like on my drive. Now I'm in this shared drive, this program review, but if I go back to my drive, it takes me out of program review and into my Google Drive. Okay? Says Google Drive. Let's talk about a few ways you can use Google Drive. One of the first ways to use Google Drive, let me get into it. I'll hit the waffle, go go to Drive. I'm doing this as a student instead of me because I have way too much stuff in mind. I figured it'd be easy to follow along in this video with less data. So if I go to my Drive, the first priority of Google Drive, I believe as it was made, was for storage, user storage. So we can see that I have a couple folders and a file in here. Let's say I want new folders so I can split things up. So I'm going to say science. And I create. So I'm going to drop all of my science stuff in here. But I teach 7th grade science and 8th grade science. So I might want to break that up with things I put in there. So I'm going to go inside that folder and say new folder, or I can right click and say new folder and say 7th grade. 7th grade. Create. And I'm going to create another folder called 8th grade. Create. Now I may also teach anatomy, so I'll do a new folder, anatomy. So I have 7th grade, 8th grade, and anatomy. So I can distinguish between the different classes I teach. Now I can take and drop files into that anatomy. You saw how it changed, highlighted it. Here's my file uploading into it. That can be a document or a picture just as well. So now if I look at anatomy, there it is. Now if I use the breadcrumbs and go back to science, I go to 7th grade, I can also just drag and drop like that. Another way that I could drop files in is let's go from 8th grade. I say new, file upload. And I want to look around, and then I'm going to grab that one, say open, and it's going to upload it. Mix together. So now if I look at science, I have something in the 7th grade, science, anatomy. So that's how I create folders, create subfolders, and also how I drag and drop things in there. It could be anything, a file or a picture. Now, one of the key benefits to using it in the Lawrence.KYSchools.us account is you have unlimited storage. So you can make as many of these folders and drop as many files as you want to in there. I think the size of a file is limited to 2 GB, but that's a movie. So, but you shouldn't have any problems with anything you need to keep for your lessons or school. Now that I'm in the top level of my drive, I'm going to go ahead and do some cleanup because I don't really need this file in there. I'm going to say remove. And I'm going to remove this science folder. And I'm going to remove the reading. Now that's going to remove everything within them as well. So for right now, they're in the trash. If I wanted to get them back, I could go into trash and say restore. So now if I went back to my drive, I can see that I restored this file. So I'm going to remove it again. Go back to my trash, click empty trash. Now just like on Windows or anything else, this completely empties the trash. Once you've done this, you can't undo this action. So only click empty trash if you're sure you want to get rid of it. Now there's no files in the trash, and my drive only has my classroom. Now classroom is a folder that you never want to get rid of. As a teacher, that's where all of the stuff you do with your student Google Classrooms are, and as a student, that's where any class that you're enrolled in, that's where those folders are kept. So you can see I have the LCS Tech Tips, and I have English first, different folders, and those are the classes that the student Lawrence is enrolled in. So don't delete those, okay, no matter what you do. So if I go back to my drive, another key benefit is the productivity suite. So I can say new, the way I created folder a moment ago. I could say Google Docs, Google Sheets. Docs is like Word, Sheets is like Excel, Google Slides is kind of like PowerPoint. That's what I do my presentations with. Click More, you have Google Forms or Google Drawings and Google My Maps. And you can connect other apps like GeoGebra to this. So, if this student wanted to create a Google Doc, like a Word document, it comes up, he can just click on the Google Docs. You can also go to the Docs home, and it's got templates within here. So he could do this template for an essay, and he can modify that the way he wanted it. It gives him a quick tour of everything first time he uses it. So you can see it's in Lorem Ipsum and he can just modify it. So if I go back, I could also create just a blank document. Type notes or something in there. So give it a title. Testing docs. Now we see all changes are already saved. I don't have to do anything to it. I can close it. Now you see those documents are within my Google Drive. Already saved for me. Let's say I want to get rid of them. Say remove. And remove that file and put it in the trash. If I want to restore it, I can, or I can delete forever. Go back to my drive. And I see my testing docs. I can also download this to my local machine that I'm working on. I could get a link, or I can share. Now share is how you would do collaborative work. So if I shared it, and I'm going to put my account. And let's say that he can edit it. Now what that does, it allows anyone to share, that you share it with can edit, allows them to make changes to the document. If you say can comment, they can just comment on parts of the document. Can view, they can read it, but they can't do anything to it. So I want to say send, and it would send an email to them. Or if you say get shareable link, you can send them a link to the file. Get shareable link, and just copy and paste that up somewhere for them, or put it in an email or on a web page, anything you want to, any way you want to share it. So, but anyone at Lawrence County Schools with the link can view. Okay, you can change that to where anyone in Lawrence County Schools can edit, can comment, or can view. You can also make it public on the web. So that's how you share files for collaboration. I don't need the file, so I'm going to say remove. That's just an example of how you can do things you can do with Google Drive.